Right. So I have just started the session and we have attendees joining in. Welcome everyone. Thank you for taking out 45 minutes out of your busy day to come and join us today. I will give it another minute before everyone completes joining and then we will begin. All right. So while we are waiting for everyone to join, let me just begin. Uh, Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, attendees, for coming today. The topic for today's discussion is Total Rewards, the Evolving Employee Experience. I'm your host, Smriti, and I'm the founder of Advantage Club. For those of you who don't know about us, we are an employee engagement and rewards and recognition global platform. And in the idea of keeping the HR fraternity connected and learning from each other, we do these webinar series on a very regular fashion. Every series has a different topic. We bring industry experts who have created and run different forms of employee engagement experiences in their organizations, and they come and they impart wisdom to everyone. Um, so just to give a little bit of context, this session will be of around 45 minutes with 30 minutes of Q&A for the panelists and then 10 to 15 minutes for Q&As from the attendees. However, if you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the chat during the session itself. And we can also take it through within the session or post the session. We'll see how it goes. I will also be launching a couple of polls during the session itself. So I'd request your valuable responses in that so that we can understand how the market is going as well. So a little bit of introduction on our panelists, and I would like to welcome our two wonderful panelists here on the session as well. So I will start with the lovely lady on the panel, Pallavi. She's from Zulfar, and we also have Sumit, who is from Al Ghurair. Welcome, Pallavi, and welcome, Sumit.
Thank you, Smriti. Thank you for making us be a part of this panel discussion. We really are.
Thank you, Smriti. Delighted to be part of the panel and would like to contribute whatever best I can.
Thank you. So a little bit of introduction on both Pallavi and Sumit. Pallavi has over 14 years of experience within human resources and demonstrated history of working in a conglomerate mix of industries, including pharmaceuticals, real estate, leisure sports, hospitality, retail, financial services, supply chain, and logistics. She is currently positioned as HR Manager, Organizational Effectiveness for Middle East and Asia's Zulfar, Gulf Pharmaceutical Industries, PJSC. Zulfar is one of the largest and a leading pharmaceutical manufacturer in the Middle East and Africa, with its distribution spread across 50 countries and with 13 accredited manufacturing facilities in MEA. Before Zulfar, Pallavi has worked with Alhambra Real Estate Development LLC, eClerx, JP Morgan Chase, Kotak Bank, naming the few. Pallavi is skilled in strategic human resource management, employee engagement, executive search, business partnering, project management, compensation, and benefits and process automation. She holds a master's degree in human resources and finance and is a certified NLP practitioner who is currently completing her advanced life coach certification. She's also an adrenaline junkie when it comes to adventure sports. So happy to have you here, Pallavi.
Thank you, Smriti. Thanks a lot.
On to talking about Sumit. Sumit is a senior HR professional in the areas of total rewards, performance, HR systems, employee engagement, talent, and talent analytics in the Middle East. He currently heads total rewards across the multi-country, multi-sector UAE-based conglomerate Al Ghurair Investments. Established in 1960, Al Ghurair is one of the largest diversified industrial enterprises in the Middle East. Prior to joining Al Ghurair, Sumit was a total rewards and HR systems lead with Al Tayer Group, a renowned UAE-based conglomerate with diversified portfolio of businesses across automotive, retail, real estate, and ventures. Sumit has previously worked with Mashreq Bank, one of the oldest and one of the leading financial institutions in the UAE. There, he was responsible for performance, management, and talent analytics. Sumit started his career as a rewards professional in UAE in the financial sector. Sumit is certified in the Hay and Mercer job evaluation methodology and is process certified change practitioner. He holds a master's degree in human resource management. Welcome, Sumit. Glad to have you here.
Thank you, Smriti. Thanks.
Great. With that note, let me start off with the theme of today's session. So the topic of today is total rewards, the evolving employee experience. So what is a total rewards program, really? A total rewards program is an innovative approach to managing an organization's culture that offers employees a complete package of benefits, rewards, and incentives. They're designed to appeal to employees to keep them at your company, to keep them with the hope that it will improve employee retention and job performance. In doing so, the organization gets acknowledged as a premier employer in the marketplace with a higher propensity to attract and retain quality talent. So I'm going to start off with questions to the panel, starting off with Pallavi itself. So Pallavi, what according to you is the scope of a total rewards platform?
Thank you, Smriti, for asking this question. When we look at the term total rewards, has actually gained a lot of attention, and most of the compensation benefits forum have been replaced with the total rewards concept rather than the former term. Let's just try thinking in a very logical sequence and understand total rewards with a very basic question. Okay, why do employees decide to stay in an organization, or what is a key factor for an employee? Now, there are five major components or five major factors that we look at when an employee decides to stay in an organization. It's compensation, benefits, well-being, development, and recognition and rewards. Now, two of these factors that an employee definitely gets exposed to even before joining an organization is compensation and benefits. Now, compensation being the first most important factor, the first thing that he focuses on is own expectation. Once he joins the organization, if he is in a same or a similar role, he would look for having an expectation with peer comparisons. Employees also focus on looking for comparison in the market. That's one of the major reasons why competitive organizations go for compensation and benefits benchmarking with companies which you've just mentioned, which is Mercer, Aon, Hayes. Okay, and they look forward to becoming one of a structured organization in the market. Now, when we talk about compensation, it gets distributed into your base salary, your total guaranteed compensation, cash compensation, which focuses on your variable pay, and direct compensation, which focuses on long-term incentive plans or employee stock option plans, which is also called as ESOPs. With benefits, it gets formed as a total remuneration or compensation strategy. Now, benefits actually play a very major role. Sometimes employee might not focus on it, but it is really huge. Imagine you are paid really well to the market, but you are not given any benefit. And as an individual employee, you're left for taking care of the benefits for your family by yourself. question arises sometimes for a competitive employee is that does he really feel belonged? Maybe not, because benefits focuses on health insurance, life insurance, which is not only extended to you, it is also extended to your family members. Some organizations focus on providing you with leave privileges, time offs, or festive leaves, which are some of the components which is not only restricted to what your labor law quotes. Employees or employers actually look for giving you more than what it is quoted in the labor law, because they try to create an employee organization-wide value proposition. Some organizations focus on Income Protection Act, Provident Fund schemes, where they provide you with financial preparedness for your savings or even for your retirement plans. Now, organizations also look at doing a tie-up with some banks where they focus on giving these kind of support to their employees. Certain organizations, definitely something that attracts most of the employees is education benefits. Now, this plays a major role. Employees get drawn to organization that provides you with education benefits, organization that provides you with housing subsidies, fitness supports, special employee discounts. These are some of the packages that revolve around benefits. Well-being, when we talk about, there are few questions that employee focuses on or asks. Now imagine being in an organization. What is your workplace environment? Is your manager or your leader giving you a support when it comes to mentoring? Do you feel your own values as an individual? These focused questions are certain factors that revolves around well-being. Not to forget, your mental, your emotional, or your financial health are some of the privileges that well-beings offer by the organization, that organizations offer under well-being package. Fourth component is development. Okay, you see all of the above factors are given to you by an organization, but you don't see growth. Will this help? I don't think so. For a competitive individual, it might help. Career growth and growth in given by an organization is a key primary factor. Organizations that really promote IJPs, which is giving preferences to internal employees over external employees, giving them a space to grow in the organization, gets the cake. Assessment centers that are formed to evaluate employees on a 9-box grid, and that which helps you in creating a talent pool for your succession planning, obviously are the primary focuses. Rewards and recognition is the last, but it's a very key component because it focuses on all individuals across the organization. So any form of recognition, whether it's a formal or an informal, creates a huge impact. A simple good job from your manager or the chief boosts your morale to an extent that it creates better productivity amongst each and every individual. A simple thank you or validation that an organization gives you definitely creates an impact. Now, when this particular component is being done correctly by any organization, I suppose half of the battle is won by that organization. And this is exactly how, when we talk about total rewards, creates an employee value proposition.
Thank you so much for that, Pallavi. And you said a very important point that the environment being healthy and not toxic, and managers being the key to be a driving of good culture, is also very important for implementing a total rewards program in the right manner. Thank you so much for sharing that. And with that note, I have launched my first poll here around what components of total rewards does your organization have in place. Till now, I am seeing rewards and recognition to be winning. We have around 44% participation yet, so please do respond to the poll. It'll be there for the next 5 minutes as well. With that note, moving on to Sumit, going on the same line, now we know what is the scope of a total rewards platform, but what should an organization look for while they are building a total rewards program? And I know that you've utilized platforms like Mercer to design, so would love to hear about that.
Sure. First of all, thanks, Pallavi, for making my job easier. When you explain the overall total rewards, right? So talking about the what does an organization look for, right? So the first important thing is, what is it that an organization want to achieve, right? So I think it's very important for an organization to first have a vision statement, right? And or a purpose. So let's say the purpose for our group, currently Al Ghurair, is enhancing life, right? Now, so if an organization has a vision, right, then it's important for the HR to be aligned to the organization philosophy, right? And then your rewards are linked to the HR philosophy, which is then linked to your business philosophy or the group philosophy, right? Now, so let's say if as an organization, you need to look at a couple of elements. That do you want to be a talent builder, or do you want to be a talent, want to hire the talent from the market, right? So or you as a brand, right? In the eyes of a candidate, are you a liability or are you an asset, right? So that's one of the important element that you look at. Now, from your business cycle perspective, you see whether you are a startup. So are you at a growth stage, or are you are you already a mature organization, or are you are you an organization which is in the declining stage, right? So that's another example. Or let's say whether you want to focus on hiring talent globally, or you want to focus on hiring talent locally, right? So these are some of the elements you need to look at. Do you want to hire the top talent from the market, the cream for the market? Which means then to hire that, you need to maybe pay them at a market P75th or a P90, right? Or you say that, okay, at a leadership level, I want to have the cream. So, so that my leadership is solid and strong. And I want to spend P P90 of the of the fixed cash, or the total, total compensation. Or are you a sales driven organization wherein you say, okay, at a fixed cash, I want to look at a P33, a person. So when I say P33, sorry, it's basically, I'm talking about the market benchmarking data, which is a percentile when you compare yourself with the market, right? Or sorry, and for your variable, maybe you want to say, because we want to pay for performance, so we want to reward the performance, right? We want to drive sales, and we will pay high on our variable pay. So these are some of the elements an organization need to first, ask these questions before they think about designing a total rewards program. So first, do you have a vision? Do you have a purpose as an organization? Then, do you have an HR philosophy? Then that needs to be linked with your rewards philosophy based on some of these elements that I've mentioned about. Yeah. Hope I've justified.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, one of the things which really struck me is that the entire policy at the end of the day, the entire philosophy at the end of the day, is also dependent on the organization's objectives. So
Yeah,
it has to be tied down to the objectives of the organization. Otherwise, you're just running a program which you don't know why you're running it. So
exactly.
yeah. So with that note, I am ending the first poll.
Mhm.
We had the winner as rewards and recognition, and closely followed by health and welfare benefits. So that's pretty interesting. Thank you, people, for participating in it. Um, I will share the results here. I will also at this
I would
note.
not be surprised, Niti, that rewards and recognition won the poll, because rewards and recognition is linked to each and every individual in an organization. Everything else is very personal or very individual. Rewards and recognition is an open platform for everyone to be a part of it, and everyone can gain out of it.
Yeah. Exactly. Very true. And I'm also launching the second poll now,
Mhm.
which says, do you think there should be paid differentials between work from home, hybrid, and work from office models? So I'd love to know people's thought process around that. It's a very interesting question. While people are answering, I will move on to my next question to Pallavi. So Pallavi, an agile and resilient workforce, essentially, especially with a diverse pool, usually needs a rewards program which is adaptable as well as flexible. So how can organizations execute this in a way which is sustainable as well as cost efficient, and what are some of the industry trends which you have seen around it?
So Sumit focused on a very key point that mentions whether the organization is looking for a development scope or a different ways of their tangent. So any individual, when joins an organization, the major factor that helps them decide whether they want to stay with an organization is actually a development scope, okay, which can be your monetary incentives or it can be a growth perspective. How much is your organization ready to invest in you if you are a performing individual? Do you really feel recognized and valued in the organization? Are your needs addressed and heard? Is like, and one of the major key question that every employee asks and definitely will be asking is that, do you feel belonged with the organization? Do you get that feeling that yes, you're a part of the organization? Is that internal branding really there for the organization? When these questions are answered in your search, you are definitely working with an organization that is adapting to an agile workplace. Now, some of the key factors that we really focus on, when we are defining a reward strategy is that we need to adapt to a tangible as well as an intangible recognition program. So it focuses on your compensation, incentives, and it also focuses on experiences. Tailor your recognition in a way, as we all know, that no one size fits all. Maybe something works for an organization, for my X organization. Maybe that is not something that will work for my Y organization. So it has to be tailor made to the organizational requirement and needs. You need to consolidate the programs at a one-stop solution. Companies like Amazon are successing because they are a one-stop solution. So creating your programs at one place or creating one platform where it's a single sign-on for employees and they can find each and every component definitely brings an own factor. Demonstrate your results rather than focusing on the cost that has been invested by the organization in creating those programs. It's important that you focus on what is the result or what is the impact. Now, when we are talking about sustainability or cost efficiencies, uh, any organization that appreciates or rewards or invests in an individual and their growth plan, definitely the level of commitment retained from the employee is higher. Let's not forget that every talented employee that we retain in an organization actually impacts the cost on recruitment, onboarding, training, the time taken by a new individual to adapt to the organizational culture, and the time invested by your recruitment and training professionals. Thus, it creates a sustainable and a cost efficient or a cost effective way of running a reward program. I know a lot of the discussions have focused on this, and it might sound cliche, but till date, COVID-19 or Omicron has been tossing up the very way that we are working in an organization, and it has literally forced organizations to move to an agile mindset. Now, employees are looking up to the organizations to have a better health and insurance benefits, with COVID being like the most common accidents amongst employees and their family members. Support that the organization provides you or the employer that provides you in such cases of accidents creates a huge difference. One of the last Mercer 2021 Competent survey mentioned that the way forward for work arrangements is hybrid working place, which really ranked at number 1, flexi hours, which ranked at number 2, and it was part-time jobs, which was at number 3. So the major workforce now is looking for work from home or a hybrid working setup. From there, employers are also focusing on building their organization in these platforms. Employers are also aware that essential workforces which cannot really work from home needs to be provided with safety
Good
measures,
afternoon, ladies and
has
gentlemen. This is the
pay
passenger
or
announcement. Mr. Batu.
additional workplace protection. Remote working employees are provided with new kinds of benefits where their transportation cost is treated to on-site gym perks, or in giving it just an example. Now, there are organizations that might provide with a certain level of timeouts for online schooling support for your kids. Definitely, these are some of the focus areas when with wellness programs like mindfulness, fitness, health are some health. These are some of the current trends that are being talked about when we look at the mindset, or we look at the way the agile workplace is evolving. I
Yeah.
hope I answered.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you also kind of helped answer the poll question as well. So I'm going to end the second poll. And of course, the winner is no. People don't think there should be pay differentials between hybrid and regular models. And it's kind of similar to, in context to what you mentioned, that most organizations have like different setups now, so there are frontliners, and then there are people who can kind of have a digital setup. And when I think COVID happened, a lot of companies took that mechanism of pay cuts because they were not able to bring people from office. I think all of those things, we past that now, and people are fairly comfortable to also work in a hybrid world setup. So moving on to Sumit, as the next question. So we had the first poll, and recognition and rewards was the clear winner. So what are your thoughts around employee recognition being included in a total reward scope, and what are the benefits of appreciating and recognizing one's workforce? I also know you're working on a recognition policy, so would also love to hear your thoughts around how you.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Smriti. So, I mean, it's very clear, right? We cannot have total rewards without recognition. So I would say let's establish the fact we shouldn't consider total rewards only comp and ben. And as Pallavi already spoke about it in detail. So that is something which is integral part of the overall total rewards, right? Now there are organizations, depends on the maturity level of the organization, especially when we talk about total rewards as a space, right? Now when they don't have job evaluations, they don't have proper job descriptions, right? So they are moving into the direction of setting up their compensation and benefits, right? But with majority of the organization, when they spoke about or talk about total rewards, it's clearly recognition as an integral part of it. Now if we look at World at Work or CIPD, right, and in any of their definitions, this is an integral part.
Requesting for Mr. Chandra.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you. Don't worry about the
Okay.
background sounds. Yeah.
So
Thank you so much for actually taking our time in the middle of 20 things going on. So we can hear you. Please continue.
okay. So then let's talk about recognition. How does it impact an organization, right? What value adds, right? So if we look at engagement, right? Recognition is a very important element that drives engagement, right? Now, if you read research papers from Gallup or Culture Amp or any organization, right, in the engagement space, they clearly say that engagement which drives your revenue or efficiency or cost are actually linked to recognitions, or recognition is one of the driver that enhances the engagement level, right, which eventually hits your top line and bottom line. uh, it also brings a sense of belongingness, right? So if I have a sense of belongingness, that'll, that'll automatically drive the discretionary effort. So you know I will push myself to deliver more than 100%, right? It makes employee feels valued. It does reduce attrition, right? And if we talk about attrition, to rehire a new person, and we were just talking about the talent war, right, couple of minutes back. So to rehire somebody, as per Gallup and as per other CIPD World at Work, it says it takes roughly 6 to 12 months to be performing at 100% productivity levels. So imagine the impact it has, right? And then attracting top talent with the aim of becoming an overall, I would say, employer of choice. So if an organization wants to be an employer of choice and wants to focus on employee value proposition, then recognition has to be an integral part of it. Now, there are certain organizations, they say that recognition means something monetary, right? It doesn't necessarily means it has to be monetary, right? You can start small. If you have less budgets, right? You can just start with a thank you card, wall of fame, right? These things don't cost much, right? But the intent needs to be there. And yes, who doesn't love money? So a good cash voucher, and going digital, and having posts on on the digital platform. So I mean, in a nutshell, you have to consider recognition as an integral part of the total rewards framework.
Thank you, Sumit, for sharing that. And with that note, I am launching my third poll, which is around which type of reward component will be the most valuable in 2022. Would love to hear everyone's thoughts on that. So please participate in it while we move on to the next question for Pallavi. Overall, Pallavi, uh, how can anyone evaluate the effectiveness of a total reward strategy in their organization?
So to answer this question, it's very important that you have certain level of analysis data that can speak to you about this. Let me put it across very simply. You need to know your data. Any data analytics that help you in capturing what is your return on investments, whether it's your attrition, whether it's your retention rates, definitely makes a huge difference. Organizations that go for compensation and benefits benchmarking also helps them evaluate data based on industry standards, based on their functional importance and relevance, based on business importance and relevance, and it helps them place them correctly on these lines. Rewards, on the other side, consumed, non-consumed budgets help in customizing to a better fit reward strategy. Now, organizations go in engaging with the employees through surveys, through having one-on-one pulse meetings with each other on focus groups, when it comes to having a focus group interview, and these results definitely help in customizing and making a better fit reward strategy overall. Now, when we are doing these surveys overall, it helps in creating an employee satisfaction scoring matrix, which is called as ESAT scores. These scores helps you in identifying yourself at a function level, business level, organization level at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, and these ESAT scores actually helps you in predicting better. Retention rates. This is also another factor that helps you in evaluating how well have you been surviving when it comes to focusing on high potential and performing employees. So I think these are, broadly some of the some of the ways in which you can actually evaluate whether your organization is on the right track.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And like you said, data doesn't lie. So data is something which always gives you the right understanding around whether something is working for you or is not working for you. Um, at this point, I also like to remind, oh, let me actually end the third poll first. So the answer to the third poll, the winner is work-life balance, closely followed by employee benefits. So yeah, interestingly, work-life balance is the most valuable reward component for people. Yeah, so also I'd like to remind the attendees at this point of time that if you have any questions, since we are coming to the closure of the session, please feel free to put your questions in the chat and we'll have the wonderful panelists here answer those for you. So my next question goes to Sumit. Sumit, are you there? Okay. So my next and last question of the day goes to Sumit. That how has your organization gathered feedback about the rewards program for the employees, and how do you ensure that rewards are personalized to suit everyone's needs?
Sure. So, as part of our overall culture change that we be working on, or the journey that we've embarked upon, we are looking at multiple elements within the group during the last 1 year. So be it digitization, so the entire implementation of Microsoft Dynamics across the group, and culture change, right? So what we've done is we've actually have culture ambassadors, from each of our businesses, right? They basically become our eyes and ears. So they talk to employees, and for a group like ours with 28,000 employees, we need people on the ground to know the reality and share that with us. Yeah. So that's something that we are doing to gather feedback about our rewards program. Now, how we ensure it's personalized. So what we've done is we have started looking at, let's say, our top layer, right? So for example, what you can do, so let's say from a benefits perspective, you want to pay education allowance to your employees, right? For certain level and above. Now, what happens at that point of time is there are employees who have kids, right? So you're paying them education allowance. What about the employees who don't have kids, right? So to manage internal parity, internal equity, there is something, organization, some of the mature organizations, I would say, are looking at is flexi benefits. So they're saying that at certain grade and above, there's a certain pool, right, which you can spend on education or your education, your development, to manage the work-life balance. You can buy travel packages, or you can buy company products. So this is one example, let's say, of flexi benefits, so that you are able to understand your employees' needs and actually, help them get that, rather than, just one size fits all. Now, if we talk about medical insurance, right? So let's say there are organizations who are looking at providing the basic, uh, I would say, medical insurance, which is, let's say, you kind of aligning to the government needs. But on top of that, you telling them, okay, what are the other elements of the insurance that you want to add on top of, the basic medical insurance, right? Let's say with regards the airfare. So some of the organizations who book tickets for employees to a particular home destination, they give them the flexibility that, okay, if you do not want to travel to your home destination, but you want to travel to somewhere else, another destination, we are happy to book the tickets for you, and we can you can pay the differentials, right? So organizations that are looking at that these elements do impact the overall productivity of an employee, have started thinking on those lines. Like we have started doing wellness and well-being sessions for our employees, right? So we actually, and specifically focusing on our blue collared workforce, we actually set up sessions for them. We have actually set up clinics for them in their staff accommodation, so that they don't have to walk in the middle of the night, if they're not keeping well, to a hospital or a clinic, but rather how about a doctor visit them every day or every alternate day, to cater to their needs. So as I said, our culture ambassadors, they're on the ground, they share the feedback with us. It is really valuable for us, and it really helps.
No,
Yeah.
that is great, and it's really nice considering so many initiatives have been taken by organizations around wellness, around doctor on call, and office visits and all of that. I think another aspect which people have kind of accepted over time is the concept of also caring about employees' mental wellness, which used to be like a taboo so many years ago, and I think COVID changed that for everyone. So thank you so much for sharing that, Sumit. And with that, we come to the end of this amazing power packed session. Thank you so much, Pallavi. Thank you, Sumit, for joining us today. I know, Sumit, you're at the airport, and I know that this has been really difficult for you, but thank you so much for both of you for all your time today. And more importantly, thank you, attendees, for coming and also hearing these wonderful people on the panel. Like I said, this session is recorded. It will be shared with you as a link as well. In case you have any questions in the future, you can also send it to us. We'd be happy to share it with the panelists and also get their thoughts on the same. With that note, we are ending the session for today. Thank you, Pallavi, and thank you, Sumit, for your time.
Thank you, Smriti.
Thank you, Smriti.
Thank you, attendees. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, everyone.
Thank you.